time for another round of Brandy. Candid conversations over cocktails about all things brand with your hosts, Reilly Newman and Scott Saunders, the brand developers behind Motif Brands.
Hello and welcome back. Another round of Brandy on us.
On us?
On us.
On us.
It's us talking. It's us. Oh, they get to sit and listen and sip as we
But make
speak.
it sound like we're buying them drinks. Like,
That may need to
this
happen at
episode,
some
like
point.
we normally,
This
every
episode is
episode is
sponsored by-
on us, right? It's not like today's something special. Like, hey, this one, we're giving you. This is a freebie.
This is
guys.
a freebie.
This one's coming at you for free, right? We don't make them listen to ads. We don't,
No ads,
it's just,
no subscription. It's just us.
It's just
us.
It
Well-
sounds like we're a big commodity.
Starting this episode with some brand news is Long John Silver's did a rebrand.
Yeah, and I grew up with Long John Silver's in this. Like, I remember them growing up in the 70s and early 80s, and it was like, you know, fish and chips. That was like, if you were eating out, it was like, okay, you had McDonald's, you had like, you know, KFC, and then you was like, oh, but you want like more like seafood style options. It was like Long John Silver's. That was. But recently, and they've always had this iconic blue logo with the yellow fish in the center, and it was Long John Silver's. And they've rebranded. If you look back and look the history of the logo online or something, Google it, and you'll see the iterations of the logo that it's changed. But recently, they did a change that I wasn't aware of, and then it's striking me as like an interesting brand move. So I guess they started, I don't know how far back, but they started adding like chicken strips to their menu. They fry, they make fried chicken. Why not? They've got a fryer.
Throw the chicken
batter.
in there too, next to the fish.
Give people an option because maybe you got someone that's like, oh, I'd rather have chicken strip than fish, whatever. So they've recently rebranded, and it's still Long John Silver's, but now it's chicken plus seafood. And I hate the plus segment. It's so
I don't
stupid.
like them,
It's like X or plus. So it's now Long John Silver's chicken plus seafood. And instead of the fish, the iconic blue circle with the yellow
Golden
fish in the
fish,
center,
yeah.
it's now a yellow chicken, yellow hen.
Which
A side profile, same illustrational size as the fish, but now it's a chicken.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Because to me, and we talk this about all this time, why this is relevant, why we think this is an interesting move. We're not saying it's a bad move. We're just saying it's an interesting move because they kind of cornered the fish and chips market. There's hardly much competition out there. And yes, maybe there's a downswing in that industry. Great. So they diversified and now they offer chicken. Okay, that's a good move for them. But now they're like jumping into the fast food chicken franchise and everything from Nate's to what are all the different
KFC,
Popeyes, KFC, Chick-fil-A.
Everyone.
So I'm left going, why would you do that as
No,
a brand
no.
to now all of a sudden really lean hard into the chicken lane by making it pronounced over what you've always been known for, and now your logo embodies a chicken rather than a fish?
Yeah, and then the CMO or the CEO came out and goes, oh, well, our chicken's always been our best kept secret. And so now we're making it available to the masses, which is like, okay, if someone was going to Long John Silver's for chicken, that's odd, but they must really like the chicken to make that choice and not go to an actual chicken place. So they like that. They do that. It's like going to In-N-Out for the animal style fries. It's like In-N-Out, yeah, that's a secret option on the menu, but someone's not going to go and change the In-N-Out logo and brand to be about animal style fries. And so I think it's like almost the rationalization of the decision to go, oh, well, we did this because everyone loves our chicken. And it's like, no, you're chasing a trend because McDonald's last year reported that chicken's now their top selling protein, which if you go back, I think this all goes back to Chipotle increasing the appetite for chicken. And that has helped everyone in the long run.
Well, and chicken in general, I think we're a new health fat. There's always seasons, right?
Oh, it's lean.
And right now, like lean protein meats, and chicken is one of those that are up there. Chicken and turkey, as opposed to red meat. Or other types of things. So there's a popularity in chicken in general. I think is because that's just our culture right now. Is we're eating more chicken than anything else.
I think it's just
any other animal-based proteins.
The trend of it, but then it's also like, okay, your Long John Silver's, and this is what my problem with it is that there's a place of Long John Silver's in the brain that represents fish and seafood, and now now you're doing it. They're jaguaring it. I don't buy it. I don't think it's going to last. I think it's just going to be one of those things that they'll look back on and go, oops.
What did we do? Why did we do that? And all of a sudden revert back to...
They have a chicken as their logo. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because now you're creating this it's not aligned. It's creating confusion, and it's just kind of like a flop. Because then what about all your people who actually buy your seafood?
When it's kind of to me, it's like it's okay to advertise like we're more than just seafood. We're known for more than just seafood, and then introduce and run campaigns pushing your chicken menu item, but don't change your name and don't change your logo and everything to reflect that. Which because let's say chicken takes a dive, let's chicken is no longer a fad, and everyone's like, oh no, we need. Fish is actually very healthy. Now what if so now you're going to go back to the fish and now change it from Long John Silver's chicken plus seafood to Long John Silver's fish and chips?
Which it's such a large step to change your logo to try to catch up to this trend that you have McDonald's, Chipotle, all these other massive brands that are capitalized on it already. Like you're going to be able to wiggle yourself in there and start getting some chicken sales as a seafood perceived restaurant.
Try to incorporate, get more of that market share.
Yeah, you're
like, what?
Yeah. Or Jack in the Box. That has everything.
Whatever. So anyway, but that's not what we're talking about. That it was just an interesting move and brand news that we picked up I think last week sometime. We saw that in the news and saw the logo and we're going, what is going on?
I thought it was a IHOP thing when IHOP did the.
I thought it was a joke.
The
International House of Burgers.
That's what it was. When they did the
and
fake
and the guy that actually posted it, he said he researched because at first he saw it, he had to go through and actually go down the rabbit hole and find out if this was true that they'd actually done this because he thought it was just a funny thing that someone created and threw out there. But he's like, no, this is like. In his post, he's like, no, this is real. And you're like, what is going on? But what are we talking about today? We are talking about moments. And what is I think the defining power of a moment, with a brand and its customer, it's that experience within the brand that goes outside the product the brand's selling.
Yeah. And I feel like that's part of the core of it is like, okay, everyone is spending time constantly. And then when they interact with your business, with your brand, then there's your opportunity to not only design moments that are going to impact them, but also give them something to talk about or something to share or take back home with them or just to remember. So then they go, oh man, I actually really enjoyed that experience, or I enjoyed, they look back on it fondly and then they come back and go, oh yeah, I want to experience that again, or it just increases the perceived value and everything of it. And this episode will kind of harken back to an episode from season 1 of Brandy that we published that May 9th of 2024, and that was the Grassroots episode that actually got a lot of great traction and people loved that one. And so what we're kind of talking about here is that these moments, when you make that kind of impact with a customer, it kind of it helps fortify that grassroots and really helps them go, okay, they're going to tell their friends about it, and that's going to keep the word going and create this overall perception where you have more people coming in to enjoy it and to, trust you as a brand. And it kind of just helps build it out that way rather than trying to reach someone completely out of your circle who you haven't interacted with, and actually kind of leaning into that power of it.
Yeah. Let's talk about social media, for instance, and so many brands are they're creating their own content, right? Whether it's videos, whether it's posts, whatever it is, they're selling you their wares. And that is their content. It's like different applications, different uses of their product. Maybe it's a customer review, whatever. They're trying to engage and trying to create content. And it's kind of clunky, comes off a little clunky. And I think like the times when, and this leans into the customer, when customers are a fan of the brand, they're going to tag the brand. They're going to comment on the brand. If they're really about it, they're going to like shout it out, whether it's a new wine, a new beer that they've tried, and it's a story post. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing IPA, whatever. They're already generating content that's in favor of the brand. The brand's not even going to do that. And usually that distills down to a moment that the consumer had with the brand. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually that brings 2 examples to mind is that this woman I know, I think it was many years ago, she got in a car accident and she was driving a Volvo sedan, and she said that her car was completely totaled, crumpled because the other driver was completely insane and it was driving like a maniac. And she said this to me multiple times. And she said how she'll never drive another car besides a Volvo ever since that moment. Because she's like, I was totally fine. And even like the fire department was like, oh, you're supposed to be dead. Like this accident, like you shouldn't be alive right now. And she was like, I'm never driving any other car except for a Volvo. Actually, last night, a friend of mine on Facebook posted their car was completely totaled. It was flipped over and all that. And then she showed a picture and she's like, we're all okay. The car's done. We had a horrible accident. And then she showed her baby sitting in a Graco seat. And then in the post towards the end, she tagged and said, you know, blah, blah, blah. This Graco baby seat like saved my child's life. And just that right at the end, I was like, wow, it's pretty crazy that she actually mentioned the brand. Like she mentioned Graco, which is like a top baby seat manufacturer. And but even those moments, those are huge moments, right? Like life-threatening moments. But she said that, and it made me even go like, oh yeah, we've used Graco in the past for our kids, but also me going like, wow, that is like tested and true, like both of these brands.
You mentioned Volvo. It got me thinking about not only that story, but then the brilliant commercial campaign that Volvo decided, like, let's capitalize on this. It wasn't sparred from that moment, but it aligns with it where the commercial for Volvo was showing a smashed up right. Volvo. Remember, we talked about this on an episode a while back. I forget how many episodes. Destroyed. It was like I remember seeing the commercial going, wow, this is brilliant, where they were pitching Volvo as number one in safety, and it was like the time that they loved their Volvo the most was when their whole family walked away from a completely crumpled Volvo, alive and well. And that is sold Volvo. It's like, why are you showing? It's all about pristine car shots, right? The money car shots. I love you look at like,
going down the canyon.
You look at how much money in tech and the just whenever they're shooting an automobile commercial, they always go for these money shots and tight ends and all this stuff. It's like it's eye candy, but they show it, right? It's like, oh, get y'all pumped up. And then for a company to go, we're not going to show a pristine car. We're going to show our car completely mangled through the whole commercial. But it's that live family after the fact. That's what's going to sell, and it's brilliant, and it works. And you, like you said, you had a friend that testified that, gave personal testimony to that very fact. She wasn't trying for likes. It was like literally,
most of these car commercials, they show them out on these open roads, like you're saying, and then most of the people who drive these ones or actually can afford them are just sitting in traffic the whole time. I would design a car. No.
That's so true.
I would design a car where the entire purpose is creating the best, most ideal traffic and like endurance, where this car is made for sitting in traffic. So, and this kind of does come to mind of creating moments and not so worried about creating content. Because I did see a local winery, and they did some little joke of, oh, our social media manager ran out of ideas to create content. So it was like a picture of just like their wine glass or something that was very subpar for the standards of content creation these days, where it wasn't funny, it wasn't, tongue in cheek or anything like that, or dancing.
Quick edited. It's like all these, like the video editing has, like, just show the video. Quit chopping up I'm so tired of that. Bye.
It's like the opposite of filmmaking. And then I was like, and that made me think of this weird pressure where now one of my favorite slogans or sayings is like the tail wagging the dog, where now content creation has started to wag these businesses and brands into focusing too much on content creation, which should be the byproduct of creating great moments. So if the brand is focused on creating these great moments, then the byproduct of content would be natural, and it'd be even better content because your fans, your audience, would be making it for you. You're not going out there and having someone, okay, go, we need to make a video today. Go make a video. And then they start getting the staff involved and they're doing silly things. And it's like, it just becomes so backwards, where now you're doing it for the sake of doing it. And your customers don't want to see that. They don't want to hear you talk about yourself anymore, right? It's like they want you to talk about them, or you amplify what they're saying.
Exactly. Like, for instance, if it, like the Volvo, right? If Volvo was their content creation wasn't just shot the new Volvo, but if they leaned into that moment that resonated with the people that have been in an accident in a Volvo and like are grateful, thankful, and they can relate to that moment, and your brand through its content creation is resonating that moment, that can be strong. But content for content's sake is just a stupid brand move. And it comes to social media.
And I feel like it's short-sighted, and it's just creating noise for the sake of creating noise, and it's submitting to the algorithm and trying to do this whole content creation thing. And it's like, no, that's not the point of it. As a brand, I guess influencers could act that way. They're creating content. They're doing all of that nonstop. And it's like, okay, that's great for them and their specific game that they're playing. But as a business or a brand, it's almost the opposite, where you need to like think before you speak, right? It's like doing these things and not just creating things for the sake of it, but actually going, no, how am I going to actually go about creating moments that then generate content and generate people talking about it. And this goes back to the grassroots, where someone posting about something and someone actually engaging with something and being part of that. That's how you start weaving those grassroots. And if you go back to the episode in season 1, we talk about how grass is a pain to grow because it's, you have to wait for the seedlings to take root and then it networks. But that's also what then makes grass and weeds, what makes them so powerful is that
it should be crabgrass marketing.
Crabgrass. Yeah. You want to be the crabgrass.
If you really want your marketing to like invade, call crabgrass
or
marketing.
bamboo. My neighbors have bamboo and it keeps coming over into our, I might just let it go, but the grass, that's what makes it so great though, is that you have a network. Same thing with bamboo actually, is that you have the shoots that go out and it starts creating a network. And that's why it's so powerful once it's taken root and you have that network. And that's really with your marketing, with your brand, you want that. You want that with your audience. You don't want to just be, kind of almost just putting in these like single posts of content and hitting that, but trying to create these moments that then feed that network effect.
Because it starts kind of like with inertia, like starting to roll a stone, a boulder. Each one of those moments in turn then feeds the grass, your consumers' marketing efforts, right?
Right.
And I think probably there's some of you guys are thinking, well, like, how do I even get started with that? Like, I'm like, how do I create moments, right? And that's where you have to really just look at your business model, in terms of how you do business. You look at your customer's journey from the first time they're getting aware of your product or service to the final sale or follow-up or repeat sales, right? Whatever your goal is.
When you think about creating moments, I feel like now we've become so enamored with like convenience, thanks to Amazon and everything, and that has made things so smooth. So now businesses are always trying to, okay, how do I make this as convenient as possible? How do I make this as smooth as possible? Just like I was telling Scott the other day of how I was walking around town and then I got a push notification from Uber. And then even around like meal times and stuff, I'll get push notifications from DoorDash and stuff. I'm just like, okay, that's nice, but I'm not in that mode. I'm not in the mode to order an Uber or to order DoorDash right now. So the push notifications are more of a pop-up ad and annoyance than anything. Like it doesn't know me, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with, yes, it's convenient, it's slick, it's smooth, it's happening for you, it's a one-click buy. But I was listening to this interview and this guy was like, the problem is that we focus so much on making things smooth and frictionless, and yet now we complain about not feeling anything. Now we complain about not having any of those moments that actually make us feel something because everything is so darn smooth now. You can just buy it online.
Automated.
And it shows up. There's no
human interaction.
I was like,
It's super convenient.
It's like going to the restaurant and they have like the POS system at Taco Bell or whatever, and you just like there's no human interaction because there's no friction. It's just touch the screen and then your order appears and you barely talk to anyone. It's like, no, as humans that friction is our opportunity to create those moments. And I think that's what's a big takeaway that I've been focusing on lately is kind of going, okay, if you do have this customer journey, then what are these moments along the way where you can increase friction?
Well, even I know like a lot of people don't like food shopping. I have to go to the grocery store, right? And to me, like we went to Trader Joe's and was like, I was picking out my wife and we're picking out some produce. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a couple apples. And so I've got my bag and I'm looking at each apple. I'm like, I kind of was being selective. And there was what I personally like for apples and what I'm looking for, whether it's color, shape, form, feel. Oh, this one might have a slight bruise, or it's if the skin's getting a little wrinkly, maybe I'm going to find it's getting old, right? So there's an experience. There was a moment of me engaging with the product to purchase that produce. And then I look at the people that are like online grocery shoppers. And I'm like, well, half the time I'm moving my cart around and there's those giant carts because the store employees are doing all the shopping for that person.
I actually just read an article and they're talking about that, how that's become an issue now. The carts being in the way of the employees picking out things. And now a lot of these places are they over-index their employees to be helping with picking out items versus being available to help people who are actually in store. So then there's been this drop in satisfaction of people actually in your store shopping because all your employees are busy picking out things for online orders.
But I will tell you this. I've spent more time asking people, by the way, do you know where this is? And those people that are the in-store shoppers, they know where everything is.
Yeah,
they know the store now. But here's what's funny is like I go to like Lowe's or someplace like that, and or Michael or any of those stores. I go, hey, I'm looking for this.
Yeah.
You know, can you tell me what aisle? And like, yeah, hang on for a second. And they're basically pulling up their cell phone and looking up on the app, typing in the item and finding out in store what aisle and row it is, and telling me that. I'm like, well, dude, I could have done that. I was hoping you'd actually be able to direct me the general area of where this type of thing is, instead of me standing there while you're trying to pull up your device and find the information. I could have done that myself. It's like you don't know the store well enough to know, hey, I'm looking for this. And they go, oh, yeah, that's going to be, over
aisle 27.
Yeah, aisle 27 around there.
It's so true. That's definitely happened to me.
How did we switch to online? Anyway, we're getting off topic. But I think your point of convenience, that's huge, because I feel like stores and brands are trying to make things more convenient for the buyer, but then we're stripping away opportunities. We're trimming away the possible moments for opportunities for these moments like we're talking about.
Yeah. And there is something even to the point of hunting and gathering of shopping, like buying. And that's, again, we've mentioned this before, that there's a difference between buying something and shopping for something. Typically online, Amazon, you're buying something. You may look around for a bit and do all that, but that's the one click buy is the function of buying. It's convenient. But when you go into a store or a boutique or something, you're shopping. You're in a totally different mode. So even like Scott was saying, when he's looking at vegetables, looking at apples or whatever, you're shopping. You're shopping the selection and you're picking them. You're not just grabbing and buying. And I think there's us focusing on that and going, yeah, those are moments. That whole experience right there of someone selecting something, there's something there like that's special. They're literally customizing their own order and curating it to how they like things. So it's like what else could you ask of a customer than for them to almost co-create their final purchase with you, and then you go, oh wow, I know they're going to enjoy all this because they picked it out. Like that's a huge. And now that's been like almost like discounted because it's like, oh, you're not having it delivered. Oh wow, that's.
Wait, you're doing your own shopping?
I can't. I don't know. I can't get it. I've heard people say they can't. Like, oh, yeah, them shopping for me saves me so much time. I was like, what were you doing before?
Well,
like,
that's the thing too. I think the question I have is for while we as a culture get more and more, it's all about convenience and speed, right?
Yeah.
It's like the Industrial Revolution was to create more leisure time, for people in general. Whether it could be cooking meal, like the birth of the microwave was supposed to. Right. Now you can heat up a meal in 3 minutes, rather than spending 20 minutes in the conventional oven, or all these progresses we've done to create more leisure time in our day. But then we're not living life leisurely. We're freeing our time spent grocery shopping is now doing something else. So it's like we're trying to like cram as much as we possibly can in a day, and that's why someone would look for convenient options for things, as opposed to, I don't know, like there was something about even like going grocery shopping with my wife. Like she's like, "Hey, I got the time. You want me to go with you?" I'm like, "Sure." And it was actually fun. Whereas normally I will shop, and I'm like, "Okay, I got to hit these 3 stores, get all these things on my list, and I got to get back. I got to mow the lawn. This is on a Saturday morning. Got to mow the lawn. Got to get my honeydew list things."
Yeah.
But then actually stopping long enough to enjoy the errands, and my wife went along and we actually were joking about, we were having fun. It was like it made it more enjoyable, and it wasn't about convenience. If anything, why are the 2 of you going to do something that one person go do? And it's mundane. Because life should be about living the day and spending time with those that I love. So here's an opportunity when I can actually, hey, baby, let's go to the store together. Yeah. And that may be weird, but I think that's where I'd rather if you're going to partake in convenient things with a brand that are going to strip away all those golden moments that it can have, don't replace them with more filler stuff. Oh, God, now I got more time to sit on the couch and funnel through social media because I don't have to go to the store and shop. Someone else is doing it for me. You know, I mean, I don't know.
It's so counterculture. You're cutting edge. Here's what comes to mind is that the transforming minutes into moments is like what every great brand wants to do. That's what Disney did with their lines and with their overall experience, right? And we've talked about that before. But there's also a psychological law where it's called the Parkinson's law, where it's pretty much the work will fill the time permitted. So if you give yourself more time for something, human nature is that we'll kind of expand the work or procrastinate or drag it on or do whatever to fill that time. So that's why when you do assign work to yourself, you can usually cut it back a little and you will actually get the work done within a shorter amount of time. But if you give yourself more time, you're actually going to fill that up. So that's why a lot of the times people won't, if you have a deadline that's too far out, they'll just drag their feet until it's like game time. And so, okay, so keep that in mind, is that's human nature, right?
That's procrastination.
But human nature, so Parkinson's law, look it up. And the thing here is that almost is counter. So if you consider that human nature, that's almost counter to what you're doing as a brand, trying to be more convenient. So if you're trying to be more convenient as a brand, you're actually subtracting the time that the person's allotting to the engagement with your brand, right? So they're going, oh, this would be quick. It's a one-click buy. Boom, I'll be done in minutes. So now they've only allotted that much time for your brand. So you literally have no time now to create an experience, to create a moment that's actually going to last and drag that on. And like Scott was saying, it's like people are wanting more of those in-depth, longer experiences. And again, Disney's proven that that's not out of style. People want that. People want to spend time in line if you make it enjoyable, if you actually make it a moment and create more of those kind of like where there's more meaning to it.
That's why, I mean, if we're going to talk, again, classic move of Mr. Walt Disney, I mean, wait times for rides, 90 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
But guess what? Man, I love standing in line for the Indiana Jones ride.
Oh, yeah,
all the little nuances, all the Easter eggs. It's just the ride goes quicker than you spent time waiting in line. Yeah. That's why I even like hate the fast pass. Like, have you ever gone to Disneyland? Like, first one in line, you're like you're literally there's no one in line. You're literally running through all this stuff, and I almost feel like, God, I wish there was a line because I don't want to take, or I'll take my time because they put so much time and energy in all the nuances of the queue. Like they just redid the queue lines for Haunted Mansion. It's in Anaheim, and now they've opened up a lot of this area, and there's more graveyard to walk through and little, and those are fun moments. Again, moments, right? Yep. It's not just about the ride; it's about leading up to the ride. It's not just the purchase. It's leading up to the purchase. Yeah. It's whatever it is.
Yep. And this is what Joe Pine talks about in the experience economy, is that you have people who they have time well saved, right? So they're willing to spend a little bit of more money and actually save some time. That's fine. Or in the next step up, you have time well spent. And that's going to be someone who's willing to pay more and actually spend time, but enjoy the time being spent. So someone who may enjoy more of, an analog experience or more hands-on experience, they're not going to value convenience as much. So that's what like Rory Sutherland's always talked about, the chairman for Ogilvy. He always talks about you don't need to make the train faster and faster and faster. The subway doesn't need to go faster. You can, because really incrementally, you can't increase the speed enough in the distance to actually make it worth it. It's like going 75 on the freeway in a short drive. It's miles per hour. You have to be driving for hours to make up the difference. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter. So if you're speeding, it has to be for a long time. And
I don't know. I can get to Trader Joe's and back in under 3 minutes.
And then you spend 30 minutes in the parking lot.
Why are you going 100 miles an hour to go 5 exits? Yeah, but I get there really fast.
And so it's like not making it faster and more convenient, but actually making it more enjoyable. Because you and I both know is that if something is enjoyable, time goes by very, very fast. And so if time is perception, then convenience is almost like...
Ever been at a boring dinner party? You're like, God, it's only 6:30.
Please.
But then you go to one where you go to a friend's house and you're laughing, playing game, whatever. Next thing you know, it's like, wait, it's 12:30 and now... what? Like, we plan to leave by 10 because we both have to work in the morning. And you're like, where'd the time go? Because you're just having fun.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and all these things, they do fortify the whole grassroots effect. It's creating those moments. It's making someone forget what time it is. It's making someone lose track of time and really just enjoy it. And I think everything that technology, convenience, all of that has been focused on the wrong benefits of convenience and making something efficient versus going, no, let's make it enjoyable. Let's make it effective.
Create moments and they will talk about it. And that's really, I think, in the nutshell, what we've been trying to we've brought up a bunch of different topics, but I think at the end today, I think we were just leaning into this of create moments that they will talk about. And that is where, spend less time just talking about yourself and allow your audience to do the talking for you.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
And enduring our wandering through this episode.
Our verbal meanderings.
We will be back with another one next week.
Yep.
Until then.
Cheers.
Cheers.